I have primarily Windows machines, so I reboot constantly.
Oh, yeah.
You have a Mac, so it's like you
just leave it on forever.
Are you probably in some group on the internet where you guys all share your uptimes? I've had my laptop for 26 years, and I've got a generator that runs in case the power goes out. I guess it's a laptop, but okay. My turn.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
Ghost of Frankenstein.
My son, would you destroy that which I, your father, dedicated his life to creating? What if it had another brain?
Whose brain?
Your brain.
Bother! What good is a brain without eyes to see?
I warned you that you might regret this action.
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that I suddenly am just like completely distracted by our opening.
What?
You've been warned.
Yeah.
There's no but. You know what I mean? Like, you've been warned.
But
here it is anyway.
Here it is anyway.
You've been warned. You've been warned. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I give up. Can you go? You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I'm Bill Evenson. I almost said Tom Lang.
Oh, that would have been spectacular. Oh, too bad.
I think I've done that on purpose, but I almost did it by mistake. You know what it is? You got that Monkeys box set up there, and I noticed it because Jackie glued mine together the other day. Yeah. I've had it for years, and I finally got it actually glued back together because it came.
Mine never came apart. I know several other people that have had that happen.
I had mine was all beat up on the inside. It was just demolished on the inside. So then I ordered a replacement, and the replacement fell off. So I never had a good one until 2 weeks ago.
I know a couple other people that happened to, but mine has been just fine.
Minute 33.
Minute 33. Did I say that? Did I say who I am? You said who I am.
I probably did.
You join us for minute 33 of 1942's The Ghost of Frankenstein. Elsa has just asked as to the condition of Dr. Kettering. Ludwig looked down at his hands. Now he says, I tried to save him, but you do a better...
I tried to save him, but it was impossible. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I don't know that he tried to save him at all.
I mean...
No, I think the inference is between...
After he was killed?
Well, between...
Like, what did he do before the death?
No, but between...
Oh, he's saying, I tried to save him, but he was already dead?
Well, him lugging Elsa off, Bulmer looking up at the Frankenstein laying on the floor.
Yeah.
In this scene, there was some...
Bulmer looking at the life-size Frankenstein doll.
That's laying on the floor, yeah. That some time has elapsed between that and, because she's in bed. There's inference that some time has passed. So he maybe tried to...
Revive him
or something.
I never thought of that.
Yeah,
that's
what I've always taken that to mean.
I love it. That makes sense.
He's dead.
Well, no, she says murdered?
Well, he says, yeah, he's dead.
Oh, he does? Oh, okay. Was that in the subtitles? Yep, he's dead. Murdered?
Yep.
And then he says, nope, he fell. Honestly, I swear. I mean...
Fell down the stairs.
Murdered? It's kind of weird, the use of the word murder in these movies, and we're going to get some more of that soon. He was murdered, but it doesn't even feel that way because the monster is just a rampaging lunatic.
Yeah, it's a monster. So.
Does Lon Chaney murder people? No, he just... No. Did he,
well, it's
I
like
don't know. Did he break through that plate glass, or did is he just Chaney?
He's just Chaney.
Yeah. What were we going to say?
Well, the mummy too, he kills people, but you don't think of it as murder.
Yeah,
but they talk about it as murder, and I guess technically it is.
Yeah.
As a kid, certainly watching them, it never occurs to me that this is murder. The monster killed somebody. That's what monsters do. So did Godzilla murder thousands and thousands of people?
Right.
Yeah. I guess so.
Well, then the other thing is, Pretorius says it. All those murders. Yeah. It's the same thing, right? He's not referring to murders that took place. Well, they didn't murder anybody to create the monster in the first one, anywy.
That we know of. No.
Well, that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster, he says. Oh, wait, no.
He says, that'd be awesome if he said that. Elsa,
as far back
as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster. Big, bombastic horns.
Awesome. Ever since I can remember, I've dreaded this moment. For years, I felt certain the monster had been destroyed.
Oh, does he say
I
certain?
tried to keep all knowledge from you
No.
until last night.
He says, for years I felt secure, certain that the monster had been destroyed. I think it's interesting that he says, for years I felt secure, but dread. Like there's a
kind of opposing.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he was all that secure if he's been dreading this moment his whole life.
Yeah.
And it is his whole life because he's not born at the end of Bride.
Nope.
So there's all kinds of stuff that's gone on before he was ever born. In fact, the monster was dead.
Yeah, as far as
Was
he knew.
presumed dead.
Yeah.
His whole adult life. I'm sorry. I don't know why people listen to this podcast, but I would assume it's not to listen to me once again go over the timeline. But it's fascinating to me that we got this old guy. I mean, is Cedric Hardwicke older than Colin Clive? I suppose probably.
Yeah, probably, because Clive was 35.
I don't mean like at the time he died. I mean, was he born before Colin Clive was born?
Oh,
Probably around the same. I guess it really doesn't matter. But so that makes the timeline more confusing for me. Because what I tend to do, I think, is try to put each movie into the year that it came out, and that doesn't work for these films.
Clive was born in 1900,
and Hardwicke was born 3 days later in Spring Peaks, California. I don't know. He's British because he's a knight. He's a knight of the realm.
He was born in 1893.
There you go. So that's why it's easy for a simpleton like me to get confused. Mm-hmm. These films are confusing to me.
Yeah, there's no definite set timeline here.
And so that's why I say his whole life he's been aware of the monster's existence.
But that's, I think, a fair thing to say, yeah.
And dreading that his daughter might find out. Her whole life he's been dreading that.
Yeah.
But he felt secure because he was certain that the monster had been destroyed. Secure but dread.
Yep.
Okay. That sound...
until last night, I succeeded. So sometime that indicates what I was talking about.
I think I cut you off the sentence before that. So the sentence before that, he says,
I don't know.
I kept it from you.
I tried to keep all knowledge from you.
Yes.
And until last night, I succeeded.
I don't think that's a very nice way to be. I don't, unless maybe it is, but it doesn't feel nice to me to say I tried to keep this knowledge from you.
I guess when you say the word knowledge.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem I'm having.
That's the sticking point because trying to keep you out of this mess. Then
sure. There you go. That's a good. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Then that's fair.
Yeah.
But to say,
he's so condescending, it works better for him to say knowledge.
I try to keep you stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You're my daughter. You don't need to worry about such things. One day you'll be like Martha. And I don't know. What does he hope for Elsa? I have no idea. Marry that Eric.
He's going to marry that Eric Claude and
then be the prosecutor's wife.
Yeah, the town prosecutor's wife.
Yep.
So that indicates some time had passed from all the mayhem that happened in that hallway and now.
Yes.
Whereas in the script, this is all immediate.
Okay, that is weird.
He carries her into the study, and this all happens immediately.
So when he carries her into the study, has she been dosed by the soporific gas?
But she comes to right away. Yeah.
Maybe in that case, does he keep the gas going in the room?
I think he turns it off.
So he gives just enough gas to knock her out briefly and the monster out
forever.
Yeah. until further notice.
Until what time, if any?
He's harmless for the time being, or whatever he says.
I had to know, she says.
She's right. I mean, that's, I guess, the other part I'm getting about. It's like, because the other part of it is he's saying, darling, I know you caught me in a lie.
Basically,
I've been lying to you at least for the last couple days. Or day, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I got caught. So when I tried to keep it from you, it's all sounding very. But she obviously loves him and understands because she says I had to know, and that's very sweet the way she says it, and I guess that sort of covers it. But it just seems really ugly to me.
Yeah. I had to know yesterday.
I gotta find something to talk about in all these minutes. No, it really isn't that.
Yesterday when I saw Igor.
Yeah, is she? No, she already knew it was Igor. How does she know his name? Igor?
That's the thing we've talked about before.
We don't remember why.
Because I think it's an artifact of the script where she looks at Wolf's journal as well and gets it from there because there was supposed to be a flashback to Son that they didn't include.
Yep, and I forgot about that.
That's where she
They specifically called out in the script that there would be shots of Igor. Yeah,
I think it's just a leftover from that because in the film as it is, she's never introduced or told, that's Igor. She just knows something about Igor, she says to him in the study earlier on. And what I like about it is a complaint, I guess, on some level that I'm complaining that I don't understand why this is the case.
face, but it's so minor that I didn't ever notice it before, so it's not really a complaint. It's just kind of an interesting idea.
It goes by quickly, so you don't really think about it too much.
Yeah, you don't really think about it. And there probably is a way around it. If you watch close enough, you could probably say, okay, and they had a conversation at this point, or...
Yeah, maybe.
It really doesn't work here, but whatever.
She asks about him.
And he gets...
Who is that weirdo?
You know what these maniacs are like.
Yeah.
These fucking maniacs I gotta see every day.
The nut jobs I gotta put up with.
You don't have to be crazy to work here, but it helps.
It's a needlepoint thing up on his wall. Pretorius made.
But it's all like, twisted and weird because it's been made by a maniac or something.
Well, Pretorius made it because he was into
needlepoint. Of course.
Something out of the past to threaten our happiness.
It's weird to know when to say this part, because my notes are a little bit out of order, because it's hard to know when to say, because in the script this plays out different, because and maybe it's probably just best for me to just say that and then talk about it in a couple of weeks, because there are things that are said in the script in this scene that are fascinating and really give you a different outlook on this scene.
Yes.
And the following scene.
But I think it's better to say it.
We'll talk about it all then.
Yeah,
perfect. That works great. Cut all this out. Cut the entire podcast out and just put up a blank screen. Jackie alerted me to a product called Plexaderm. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
It's Plexaderm. And in the video, this guy has these bags under his eyes, and he puts this Plexaderm on there. And within 2 minutes, they keep coming back, and within 2 minutes, it's dramatically different.
Yes.
I don't know what happened in this minute to make me think of that. But no, it's one of the defining characteristics of Cedric Hardwicke.
The saddlebags that are under his eyes.
Saddlebags under his eyes.
They just got nothing on Mo Howard, though.
Yeah, true.
Mo Howard was the king of eye bags.
Yeah, what else was I just watching? Oh, FDR. He didn't have the bags, but he looks like he has two black eyes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch any FDR videos? I was watching a video.
He does a rap that I like.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's nice. It was FDR Run DMC.
Yeah.
Run DMC and FDR.
Yeah,
they should have just called it Run FDR. But I made myself laugh. That's always a good sign. That's all gone haywire. But I was watching, I just want to throw this one thing out there, I was watching FDR coming before Congress to beg for money for war, and this is after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
So they're still not straightened out yet. He comes out and he says, the events of December the 7th, 1941, and my FDR is terrible, but it's like, thanks. Thanks for obviously understanding the import of this so much that you'll give me that, you'll even throw the year in.
Yeah.
Like, people don't normally talk about that. You don't ordinarily say...
Well, you just say September 11th. You don't
you don't even say it when it's
September
2 decades ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's something that happened. And he looked like something. He had just that dark
he was
eyes.
under a lot of stress. So
that's true. He was dying from the moment he was born, that guy.
He was dealing with the Depression and the war starting to
and
hit
polio.
Home. And
Yeah.
Don't let it spoil our lives.
So, okay, I'll find a way, he says after that.
And then he looks off.
First he says, I'll find a way.
Yeah.
So what he's going to find is a way to not let something that came out of the past threaten their happiness and spoil their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's going to find a way to do.
Yep.
Yeah, just so I'm clear on what his motivation is here. What his goal is he's going to find a way to not let something that came out of the past threaten their happiness and spoil their lives.
Yes.
Okay, good. And then he says, I must find a way. Very Scarlett O'Hara. Is that like how it ends? Is that the end of Gone with the Wind? Does she say, what's the last line? It's after I don't give a damn, right?
God is my witness, I'll never go hungry again.
Yeah, it's like that
earlier
to me.
in the film. That's like at the midway point, I believe. Like before.
Yeah, that is probably what I'm thinking of. She says something like that at the end, though. You're right, but at the end she says something else. She says,
Frankie, my dear, what about me? What'll happen to me? He's like, Frankie, my dear, I don't give a damn. And he walks away, and that's the end, I think.
Oh.
Then we have a lap dissolve. Oh, there's some additional dialogue in the script. They wrote that Bill will probably read out loud.
Oh, is that right?
That's what I said.
Okay. Additional bit of dialogue in the scene we were just in?
Yeah.
Okay, where is it? Do you got it?
No.
Oh, is it
can find it.
bookmarked? Is it close to there?
Close.
What's strange is that I don't know what you're talking about. I like it. This is why we had to do the podcast. So I am the first listener.
Maybe there's not. I thought there was. Oh, I think it's what's coming
The stuff we're going to do? So
Yeah.
I can still read it out loud, but I can do it in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Well, for the listeners, a couple of weeks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then what I had here for this was that it sounds like bullshit.
That he'll find a way.
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's bullshitting her, like he's placating her. It's a bit soporific, if you don't mind. Especially given his actions before and after this scene.
But then he looks towards the camera and says it so earnestly.
That it's got to be
scene.
true.
Yeah.
But I also think the thing that I'm forgetting, and I even have mentioned on the podcast, was his motivations aren't always clear, and his motivations do in fact change
They
through
fluctuate,
the film.
yeah.
So that's what's happening here. I think what we're supposed to take away from this, if Cedric Hardwicke had given a performance of some kind, we would know that he means it. I think that's where we're at right now.
Yes.
He does feel badly. He feels that he has come clean with Elsa, and he must find a way. All right.
Yep.
Lap dissolve.
Dissolve to a wide shot of the lab.
A slab in a lab.
Yep.
And who's on the slab?
Junior's on the slab.
Yep. Knocked out.
Knocked out.
The lab is not full of soporific gas,
It
at
isn't
least
this time.
that I can see.
Yeah, not this time.
Yeah.
Ludwig enters. There's a doorway in the background that he enters through. It's the door with the window in it that he was looking out.
Yep, it's the same door, but now we're on the inside of the room.
Yep.
And having watched it too many times, I just want to say Cedric Hardwicke, and I just called him Cedric before. Who cares?
I think he went by
Hardwicke.
Hardwicke Pickwick.
Watching Sir Pickwick come into this room, then just clear the door, gives himself just enough space to clear the door. He's like an acrobat or something. He just clears the door, spins around and closes the door. Have you ever noticed this little flourish that he does? Yeah. He's delightful. I bet he's a great dancer. Like, I haven't followed his career much. I know a couple of horror things. He mentioned before The Dad in Rope, but by that point he's just playing an old dude.
Character actor.
Old man. Yeah. He's a character actor, yeah. Has he ever done any dance or anything?
I don't know that.
He's a knight by this point, so he's done something.
Yeah, well, I think he was knighted for his stage work primarily.
And that's why I asked. So presumably it wasn't mumbling at his daughter about.
Somebody must know.
Maybe he was a dancer.
I did watch The Lodger a while back. I think I mentioned it to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the day that we last recorded it. I watched it that night.
After, yeah.
And he's in that, and he plays a different kind of. He's a little more of an excitable character.
But
he's
no
got
dancing.
A beard, and he's definitely a character part. And he gives it much more energy than he does this. And it's a smaller role.
Interesting. More energy than this, you say?
Yeah, if that's possible.
You know what I noticed too, and maybe I can. You know what? If I'm going to mention something randomly, maybe I'll do it next week.
Okay. Got any more questions, wise ass?
That sound of music can only mean one thing. It's time for the sound of music.
It can mean the hills are alive.
The hills are alive.
And they have eyes.
And they have eyes. You beat me to that one. I couldn't remember it at all. I was going to get there. It was only going to take about a half an hour.
Okay.
Oh, I might have did it right. Can only mean one thing. It's time for got any questions, wise ass. I think it's also comments.
Yeah, but I mean that was what started it. Was
yeah, but no, is there something we can say that covers both, like wisecrack or something? I don't know. Work on it. Can you workshop that a bit?
Workshop that. Yeah.
Yeah, workshop that. All right. Mike Herman says for this minute. Okay. It's got to be really, like, if you were going to psychoanalyze me, I wonder what it would sound like to be like, yeah, for this minute, what's happening in your brain right now? And the answer is almost nothing.
Okay.
Mike Herman writes, this marks another major demarcation point into the realm of B movies. In the original and Bride, all the lab equipment is custom tailored for the creature and monster making. Even in Son, it works because the machines are Henry's and they look old and worn. By Ghost, Ludwig, a supposedly respectable surgeon, has electric apparatus and a table fit for a giant on hand, just like any good physician would.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it, because when you do think about this, I think, not going minute by minute or being as smart as Mike Herman, what you are is mainly disappointed, and your disappointment started in the last film, right? You look at Bride, or Frankenstein and then Bride, and says, "Oh my God, it's never-ending, it's awesome." And then you get to Son, and to some extent, some of the beauty from that comes from it being stark, and some of that involves. It is hiding the fact that the lab isn't as nice as it used to be.
The lab is sucky, yeah.
It's not sucky, but it isn't as good as it used to be. And the reason I say it's not sucky is because by the time you get to this one, you're like, no, now we're into sucky. And it isn't quite sucky.
This is at least a little bit more interesting visually. It's not a bunch of blank walls.
Yeah, true. And to Mike's point, it's better than arguably it should be. Why does he have a mad scientist laboratory?
He's got a Frankenstein lying in the hallway.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you... So he gets on Amazon and orders a table fit for a giant...
The Prime
delivery drops it off in time for him to strap. And who helped him? Was it just he and Bomer put
the monster on the
slab? And what did they do with Igor?
Maybe Igor helped. Maybe the soporific gas really is kryptonite to the monster, and Elsa and Igor and everybody's awake and running around. Kettering's still wandering around somewhere like a chicken with his head cut off.
The ghost of Kettering.
The ghost of Kettering. That's what this movie should be called. Is there a ghost in this? Oh yeah, we haven't got there yet.
I don't think so.
Sean writes, good point. I just want to make sure we squeeze this in because he's actually responding. Now this is a wise ass responding to another wise ass's comment.
Kind of meta here.
It's getting meta. Good point. It's all too clean and shiny too.
Yeah.
Does the maid come in there to dust or what?
Oh, sure. Martha comes in, tidies up. I would imagine. Somebody does.
I'll say this about that topic. We have seen people picking up in here because we saw the end of an operation.
They did a surgery
in this room, I think.
Yes.
And then when as Ludwig's going to leave, he's like, pick up around a little bit. Maybe dust or something. Would it kill you to dust? Okay. I want someone slicing through some cobwebs a la Dr. Niemann in House of Frankenstein.
There we go.
So that's an interesting point, actually. Yeah, I wonder if you could draw a chart of the quality of the lab, I guess is the only word I have, of each of these films, and then thereby also chart the quality of the films. Because to me, Ghost still today, even though we're deep into it and we both admitted that we like it a lot more having analyzed it, still I gotta think the low point for me. I think that everything else after this is better.
I don't know, better? They're more fun after this? Because, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is kind of silly and fun, and it's a good Wolfman movie. The House movies they clock in at just about an hour.
Yeah.
So they fly by, and a lot of shit happens. Well,
so does this one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But this one doesn't fly by because we finally get a sexy lady in a sexy nightgown, and she's talking to her dad. This movie's like made by accident.
You said that about Dracula very early on.
And it's a totally different movie. There's no dad in that one.
No, but
Dracula's getting some.
It looks like it was made by accident.
Oh, did I? Oh, I said that?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, there are a lot of things about that. I see what you mean. Because I was thinking of the actual sexy lady in the sexy nightgown in Spanish Dracula.
Oh, well, yeah.
Lupita Tovar is not talking to her dad.
No, she's not.
All right, so that's all we got there. What else? What other comments are there?
I don't know. What do we got?
I don't know what this is in response to, but he says this is the MacGuffin. Mike Herman responds to something, not to this episode, but
okay.
This is the MacGuffin you'll be talking about for the rest of the series. They won't shut up about the Frankenstein records. Okay, so I guess I do know what he's talking about. Is the diary and the addendum, or what does he call it?
Notes and memoranda.
Memoranda. Yes, he's right. Yes, Mike, correct.
It becomes an obsession, yes. At least in the next two. Is it in House of Dracula? Did they talk about it?
Or Abbott.
It's not in Bud Abbott, Lou Costello.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll check your work, Mike, in 3 years.
But I know it is in the next two for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's a
big part of it.
Big part of the next one, and then...
It's a big part of the one after that, too.
It's equally big, I suppose, yeah. Okay.
Because that was one of the things I took away from it when I first watched it. Secrets of Life and Death by Henry Frankenstein or something like that. S. Thornton on Classic Horror Film Board writes, in response, he quotes someone named Len, it says,
This is going to be rough here. He said, it'd be nice if Air Lang and Mr. Evenson would drop a few less F-bombs, especially when my young son is in the room, but I'm enjoying these podcasts. And then S. Thornton responded, Len, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Lang and Evenson responded to the criticisms that you and I voiced regarding their choice of language. Basically, they told both of us to F off. Nice guys. Okay. So then here's Len, I'm guessing is his name, is the, oh man, wow, you can just click a button and the whole thing just disappears. I love the technology. I should have known better. Wow, it just does it again. All right, well, tell you what. I saw your response, but I can't read it. It is impossible for me to read on this podcast.
So you saw what was the gist of the...
I can't get it to stop scrolling. I'm just going to start punching myself in the face.
I can do that for you while you keep looking.
So I click on something. I can see it, right? So there's the post that I just read.
Right.
Here's the response. Now, if I want to read the whole thing, or at least get some idea how long it is to know if it's a book. If I touch this, if I'm so careful, it won't just buzz.
Okay.
Look how long this thing is. I should have known better. I've known people for most of my life who just give you more crapola if you complain a little about something you don't agree with. I thought they were swearing a little too much, maybe for comic effect, or maybe that's just what they do. I knew a guy in college who used the F-bomb to color his language instead of saying blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he just talked that way. I just got back from visiting family, but I missed the last podcast. I wonder if they've commented on my thoughts regarding Richard Valley's argument with me. I don't know what he's talking about. I did it to bug Mr. Valley, but I also thought it was possible that, that Ludwig could actually be the older Frank. Yeah. We loved your comment.
Yeah, no, that was great.
And in fact, if you are listening, we loved your fucking comment.
That's right.
That's awful. We're not doing it on purpose. Now I am doing it on purpose.
Well, we're doing it for comic effect now, but...
both of the Frankenstein brothers seem pretty arrogant and very defensive of their pop, don't they? I like that.
Yep.
And then he says, I just realized that I had listened to this just before I left to visit family for Thanksgiving. I thought the title reflected Elsa's actual reading of her grandfather's and uncle's diaries and lab notes. I guess that's coming up. Oh, that's the problem with all these being out of order.
Yeah. All
right, so that's that one. Done and done. Now let me do one more. I'll do one more. Mike Herman writes, I disagree with Tom about Lon Chaney Jr. not having an interesting face. Pierce designed a makeup tailor-made specifically for Chaney in Mad Made Monster, and it looked great.
Yeah, okay, sure. His face just does not work with this makeup.
I'd even go a step further and say by the time you get to Son, Karloff's face doesn't even work as well as it used to, at least. It's still great. I don't want to trash the
we're not
Pierce makeup in Son
at all. I'm not trashing Pierce at all.
I don't care. He seems like a jerk. Just kidding. No, he seems like great. The only thing I've really seen him in is that Boris Karloff, You Bet Your Life, and
not You Bet Your Life. This is Your
You
Life.
Bet Your Life.
We both said it.
That's awesome.
And they do say the secret word.
Where
the word is asshole.
The story, and actually I think it's in that Boris Karloff documentary too, where her name has completely escaped me. Something Karloff. Sarah Karloff says. He clearly didn't like this. Karloff was not a fan of this This Is Your Life thing.
No,
when you
not
see
at
it,
all.
People who aren't familiar with This Is Your Life, kids might have no idea what that is. It's just like You Bet Your Life, but it's different. But anyways, it usually starts the way this one does, where you've got a celebrity that has no idea. There's a camera trained on them, and then when they realize this show is about them, it's really uncomfortable.
The Laurel and Hardy one is even worse.
Oh, is it?
They're mad. They're about ready to not do it.
Is that right?
Yeah. They had to be talked into it.
Oh, wow.
During the break, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
Because they were like furious because they were just going to go out with their wives and have dinner.
Yeah.
Like Karloff is here.
Yeah.
And they get shanghaied.
And a camera comes along, and now you're doing this.
I think you'll find that more often than people. Oh, cool! This is going to be fun.
It's like any surprise party you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a good idea at the time. But anyways, given all that, Karloff seems thrilled to see Jack Pierce.
Karloff had nothing
so even
but great
being
things.
in a bad mood, they have a rapport that clearly
throughout his life he never had a bad word to say about Pierce. Always praised him as the best makeup man ever in Hollywood.
And I suppose credits him with
part of his career. Yeah,
because he left James Whale's clutches and went on and did The Mummy and back into Whale's clutches and did old. I mean, he's quite a lot of the stuff, not just this one makeup.
Right. No, I've said before, that makeup artist with that face created magic.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
And
point.
I think Karloff's face lended itself, and his skin must have been pretty resilient to put up with the horrors that it was subjected to. But he never complained, really.
Right.
You know, that mummy makeup, where
He just sat there quietly until it was done and then formed an actors union.
Yes, exactly right.
Tell you what we need.
Well, a lot of that was because there was like no bathrooms.
All right.
And the long hours got ridiculous.
Yeah. So Mike goes on, the scenes where the Electric Man is haggard and sick at the climax are pierced near his best.
See, and I don't disagree with that.
The monster makeup just isn't plug and play. The lesson Hollywood should have learned from Pierce and Frankenstein is let the face do the acting.
Yeah.
It's not like that doesn't quite happen here. There's just no acting. I do blame Chaney for we've talked about this, and I think one of the defenses that frequently comes up is that there seems to be evidence to support the idea that Kenton told Chaney to play it down, but there's no way that he meant this.
Play this down.
This down.
Well, I think the makeup itself works so well and has become so indelible that you do a Google search for Frankenstein and that's what comes up.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Is because 75% of it was Karloff's face.
Yeah, right.
You know, it wasn't covered in layers and layers of stuff and twisted, and it's his bare face and his eyes is what makes it effective.
Absolutely. John Pertwee would frequently say about his time on the television program Doctor Who, in which he played the character Doctor Who, that his favorite monsters were the Draconians, they're called. They are like lizardy looking people, but he said the reason is because of the face. It's the same as Frankenstein basically. If you can put horns on somebody's head, you can make them Klingons. These characters basically look like a modern day Klingon in that show I'm talking about. It's called Doctor Who. It's in the 70s. But yeah, you can still have an expression, unlike a Dalek or a Cyberman or even a mummy, really.
The mummy, certainly the mummy from the 40s.
From the 40s, yeah. Although Tom Tyler does some interesting stuff.
Tom Tyler's really good. I wish he would have continued in the series.
Basically, I just want to trash Chaney.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I don't want to. I was joking, but
I
did notice that I was
forgot what I was going to say now. Ardith Bay from the Mummy. He does.
Yeah, that's a totally. Well, actually, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah. All right, that's enough. We got enough. What time are we at?
Shit. We're at time to say goodbye.
All right.
Thank everybody for being Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, go to patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute. Sign up at any level you want, but if you sign up at the $2 level and click friend, then you become a friend, and then you get every episode a day early. You get access to all our bonus content, including the amazingly popular Curse of Frankenstein commentary that we put out a couple of weeks ago to just a blistering amount of fanfare. To be honest, if people that are writing in about that commentary and how grateful they are that we did all that work, if you could just tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you could sign up at the Wise Ass level, which is a little bit more money, and then you can make comments like this.
Yep.
All right.
It's $5 a month, by the way.
That's the one.